Okay. Boy, that is not a flattering angle. I need it up a little.
Good evening.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
I can, yeah. Can you hear
Great.
me?
Yes, perfectly. Thank you. Well, we're just waiting for everybody to get on. Sometimes it takes a second.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I'm just getting settled in.
Yep, feel free to do what you need. I'll make it very clear when we're starting to get going.
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks, Kate.
Mhm. Sargassy girl.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Good
Hi,
evening.
Hi there.
Jonathan. Hi, Chris.
Everybody can hear everything all right?
Yeah.
Great. I heard from Ron that he would be joining us. Dwight DeBrew and our new member Nathan Siegel are not going to be with us tonight, so we're just waiting for Meg Fox and Ron to join us.
Okay, I may have inadvertently told Ron the wrong time because I wasn't factoring Mountain Time. So I'm gonna just text him to make sure.
Do you want me to send the link again to him?
He's got a phone. Hopefully he can do Teams from the phone. He really
Okay.
just wants a number to call in, but I don't think does that work on Teams? Is there a phone number?
See, there used to be.
I
I
don't
don't.
see, yeah,
Hi, Meg.
I don't see one on the post.
Yeah, and I pop out whatever I get for it. Let me check
Right,
my
right.
contact.
Okay. Let me just call him real quick. Sorry, I'm gonna step
Oh,
away.
I have the dial-in number. I'll copy it to you, Andrew, and send
Yeah,
it.
yeah, that'd be awesome. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Although, I mean, for me, the dial-ins are harder than just clicking on the thing.
I
but-
truly
Yeah, I
agree.
agree.
I completely
Yeah.
agree. Okay. I'm putting Ron on it too, just so
Sure.
at least there you go.
Okay. Let me just ring him directly real quick. I'll be right back.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, he did not answer. So, um, give him a couple more minutes. But
Yeah. And
Yep.
and John Thompson said that he was going to join.
Okay.
So
That
yeah,
should
if
be-
everybody's
should be
okay,
fine.
we can just
Yeah.
hang tight and see if we can make this happen.
I think the quorum sounds good. Okay. 6:04. How have you been, Chris? Haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, pretty well. Keeping busy.
Yeah, yeah.
Congratulations.
Did the regent election happen? Did that happen
Oh,
yet?
no, the regent that election went down in my side of it went down in flames.
Oh, did it? All
I
right.
I
Well,
fell just short of getting on the primary ballot a few months ago, and then worked hard to get. I endorsed someone else and got they won the election back on June 30th. So
okay.
at least it worked out well enough.
Good. Now you have more time for business at home here.
Yeah, there's just a little
You're
bit
gonna
of
be
that to be
busy.
working on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Very exciting.
Yeah, yes, thank you. So yeah, just trying to finish off here. Got about a month left to tie everything up before we turn into pumpkins.
Yeah. Nice. Cool. Hi, Meg. Thanks for making it to the meeting tonight. And Richard, thank you.
Of course.
Yeah. I know summer is always a hard time for, you know, for everyone with traveling and all the normal summer business.
Yeah.
You know, it's appreciate everybody's service.
Yeah, now that we're virtual, you guys get to see my gamer headset.
Right?
I was gonna
Yeah.
say those are
I've seen
amazing.
It does light up.
I had,
Nice.
I remember an earlier meeting during like COVID lockdowns, they had like the light up hula hoop going at one point, one night. Yeah, that was fun.
That's awesome.
Gotta get your kicks somehow, you know?
Yeah. Kate, did you text John Thompson?
I did.
Okay.
How many people are we waiting on?
We just need one more so that we can get started.
Okay.
We need 5, and we've got 2 people that said that they were going to be here, so I am hoping that they're trying. And John, it might be because it's online that he's having some, so that's why I reached out to him. Because he said that he would be here, and I just met with him yesterday.
All right, John's gonna jump on. He was not quite clear on start time and whatnot. So he's getting on right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Andrew.
Yeah. Oh, only 6:08. It's not too bad.
I feel like we're usually dealing with technical difficulties
Yeah, I mean, it's
until this point anyways, so
Yeah.
no big deal.
Yeah.
sometimes it's one thing or the other, you know? Well, we'll be able to make good use of your time afterwards. We have things to talk about, but, you know, hopefully it'll be a productive and streamlined conversation about everything.
Did you mean related to the Marion sculptures?
No, that's an update. That's one of the exciting updates we'll
Gotcha.
talk about in information. There's just a lot of project updates and information that I'll give. And then we have our annual board elections, and then some discussion on wayfinding, but it's also kind of let you know what the punch list is and what's happening there. Because it is a discussion, not action tonight.
Is this meeting being recorded or like is there going to be an opening for public comment in this virtual meeting as well?
Yes, these meetings are all recorded and it runs just like the regular meeting. And so there we have no members of the public online right now. But they have different points in time where they can offer comment on different items. So as you see from the agenda, public comment on non-agenda items is always right under consent. So that'll be the first thing. So if anybody comes on that has comment about summer concert series, that's where that would fit in.
Gotcha.
And then anybody that has any comment on wayfinding, if anybody gets on for that, that would happen before your discussion when Andrew asks if there's anyone that has any public comments. So that's when we would get comments on that.
Gotcha.
Just sidebar, Jonathan, how's Nathan doing with JVA? Circling back to kind of some designs for Barker Meadows. At one point, have you talked to Nathan recently or?
Was he working on designs for Barker Meadows?
Yeah, he did.
Is
at
that a
one
contract
point.
for the town or for the NDA?
No, it was for the DDA. It was just, and
Okay.
I know that
Yeah.
JVA's, ongoing kind of relationship, but
I have not been managing work that's contracted with the DDA with him, but I can definitely check in on my
yeah,
next
no,
meeting.
I mean, I know what's going on with that. I just mean other things like how have you,
Yeah, he's working. There's a couple of projects he's working on right now for us. TIPS and SMS are the primary ones. TIPS is about ready to go, so we're trying to get the concrete company finalized with their award with CDOT, and then that work will start. And there's just construction management and environmental testing pieces that we have to figure out. So that RFQ is back on Friday, and then we'll award contract. And then the other project, they're still working on finalizing the final easements and things like that. And then Big Springs egress, we've been working really hard trying to get that one across the finish line. So those are the ones that he's really working on. But I think we've been trying to have a project update meeting with him pretty regularly. And so if there's things on the DDA side that need to be added, that would be great for me to be able to put them on my spreadsheet.
Yeah.
He had some stuff from the past that he had done for us to kind of start things, so we can get that back up.
Yeah. I don't know where John was. It sounded like he was about to jump right on. And so, oh, he just texted me. Text me the link. Having problems getting on. Okay. 1 second. Let me just.
You got it, or do you want me to?
You can always text it to his cell phone because I'm going to try and do the same thing. Right.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Worst thing, he gets it twice. Okay.
Hey, that worked. I'm sorry to keep everybody waiting.
No, Thank you.
Sorry. Hello.
Okay, thanks, John. Sorry, we were trying to get technical. Okay.
No, I really apologize.
All right, it's 6:16. And I'm Andrew Dewart. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Kate, can you call the roll?
Of course. This evening, our newest member who was appointed last night by the Board of Trustees, Nathan Siegel, is not with us, and neither is Ron Mitchell or Dwight DeBrew. So we'll start with Richard Brandon,
Present.
Meg Fox,
Present.
John Thompson,
Present finally.
Andrew Dewart,
Here.
Trustee Larson.
Here, here.
Thank you all.
Great. Are there any questions or comments on the consent agenda? If seeing none, if not, I'd ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I approve to,
Second,
Who's second? I'm sorry, I missed it.
I seconded. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Thank you.
Can
All
you call the
right.
roll?
Yes. Richard Brandon,
approve.
John Thompson,
Approve.
Andrew Dewart,
Yes.
Meg Fox,
Approve.
Trustee Larson.
Yes.
Thank you all.
Great. So we're going to ask, can't see necessarily everybody online, but we're going to ask if there's any public comment on non-agenda items. Public
I
comment on
I was gonna say
non-agenda.
I see that there's people online, so if there's anybody
Okay.
that has any comment on the summer concert series, this would be the time to make that comment.
I'm so sorry. I literally just was able to log on. Are y'all going to talk about the signage or should I ask about that now?
Well, this is an opportunity for public comment on non-agenda items. So that could include that. So if you, right,
Okay,
if you-
sorry.
Well-
I've had a crazy day at the store and I wasn't able to read the agenda. So I just didn't know if it was on the agenda or if I should
So
say
it
it now.
is. Wayfinding, are you asking about wayfinding? It is a
Yeah.
discussion this evening,
Okay.
and so you can make comment right before that discussion item. And we'll be there pretty,
Yeah, we'll be there quickly.
yeah, we're not getting, so it's worth staying on because we're not going to be too long until we're there. So thank you for joining us.
Yeah, no worries.
Yes. Anyone
Not
else
seeing
online?
anything?
Okay, not seeing anyone or hearing anyone else online. I think we can, Kate, do you want to introduce the next agenda item?
So we're on to information after this, so that we can run through project updates, and that starts with a chair report.
Okay, so I know there's some, feedback that we've got to go over on the summer concert series and wayfinding. And there's some discussion that, so I don't even think that the board necessarily has heard or knows about relocating Kate to the community center.
yeah.
So I think I want to ask Kate for an executive session next meeting
Okay,
to go over that with the
Okay.
board,
Okay.
and especially when we're all in person.
okay,
So that's kind of my chair report for tonight is that we've, the community center closet space is not ideal. And working with Jonathan and town and a transition there. So yeah, executive session next meeting would be great on that. And, I have a lot to share also with Kate about the summer concert series, but I'll wait
Mhm.
until we get there. So that's my chair report for the night.
thank you.
Yeah.
And next we have the treasurer's report, Mr. Thompson.
All is well. Thank you for helping me get the approvals through last week. And it's
You're awesome.
it's looking really good. Thank you.
Thanks, John.
This is a busy time of the year for our new members. We spend most of our money during these few months. And so there are a lot of checks that are going out and a lot of things. And especially with our partners after the 4th of July, John has worked with me to make sure that we're reimbursing people quickly, as fast as humanly possible. As they're getting us the receipts, we're giving them a check so that the library has already been reimbursed and things like that. So we're making sure that stuff gets taken care of.
Cool.
All right. And then the next is my report. And I'm kind of like Andrew that, I'm not going to expound too much on here, but I'm going to give a lot of more detail as we kind of go through these projects. And that's what I've been working on, and give you some insight into those above what's in the packet. Because like Andrew said, a lot happened between when I posted the packet for especially the summer concert series and today. So there are updates, on that. And the next thing we have is a town staff report from Mr. Kane.
Hello, everybody. Thank you all for being here this evening. It's a busy time. I always say it's a busy time in Netherlands because it's always a busy time in Netherlands. But we've been working really hard on a couple of projects. 4th of July is a big lift for staff. Really proud of my street and parks crews. They cooked almost 600 hamburgers on Saturday, and it was tiring. And the parade went off pretty well. And I think we had so many good community partners that were helping with that. Margie Ansura and Jeff were great. Electra at the library. We had Kayla was there, and everybody came together, and it made for a great event. And I know I didn't say every name, but I'm just really thankful to see what our community puts together on such a cool day. And it's always, the potluck for Netherlands is such a cool experience to go to. So I hope you all enjoyed the day. I hope you enjoyed the concert. We have been working really hard on a couple big things for the town. One is community center. Dawn is retiring very soon after she's our longest tenured employee. She's been here forever. She's going to try to stay close by. We want her to stay involved in our community. She knows more about emergency center management than anybody in this town, period. And so we want her to be involved, but in a role that she can feel comfortable, that she can go see her parents and her kids and her grandkids. So we're going to make a little bit of a change. The new community center manager will start on Monday. His name is Armando, and I'm very excited to introduce him to the community, and that'll happen kind of once he gets in the saddle here. Our town treasurer also retired on Friday. She is also a fixture of our staff and a fixture of this community. Her name's Rita, if you've never met her. She's on her way to Switzerland in a post-retirement trip, which is super cool. And we are hiring a treasurer right now. So if you're interested in being the town treasurer, that job is posted on the town website and will be, I think it closes on the 20th is the date that it closes. So just so you know that. And then the other really big thing is we've been really, really trying to open the visitor center, and it's been challenging to find a lead position, but I was able to get that done today. We have a lead, and we're going to be working on opening it next week. And so I think that's a really exciting thing too that you should look forward to. And hopefully the big plan is to really think about how that points to other businesses. I think we have enough money right now to run it the way I have it set up through the end of the year. And originally we're just trying to make it through August. So a little bit unfortunate that we're unable to open in May, but we're going to be able to open the rest of the year, which is going to be really good and hopefully get some really good stability in there. Those are kind of the big projects. We're also really working really hard right now on Big Springs Egress. That's been taking a lot of staff time to try to bring that project around. As you know, the plan is to try to get that done as soon as humanly possible. And so the Board of Trustees will be discussing that in an upcoming meeting very soon as we kind of bring around the work that's been happening in that space. SMS and TIPS, those are the grants that do sidewalks on First Street and on the highway near the museum, and then crosswalks over by the library, and then at the museum, and then across from the visitor center. Much nicer crosswalks with front flashing beacons that are going to be much safer for the community. The sidewalk and crosswalk project is bid out, and it just needs to be awarded. So we're just working through some final steps with CDOT to do that, and then that work will start. I don't think it'll be very impactful to the community. A small closure of sidewalk as it can work through the museum space and some painting on the street, but it won't be too impactful. The TIPS project is nearing completion. We still would love to have that bid out and kind of work happening this fall if possible. That involves building a sidewalk basically from the visitor center to the the RTD lot on First Street, and it's a bigger project. So we do need to kind of time that to the tourism season, and that's kind of the critical factor in that project. It's very close to being ready to bid out, and we're going to do that as soon as we can. The town is going to be starting on budget process really soon. We do have that deficit in the general fund we've had, and we're kind of working through the Caribou fire still and kind of thinking through impacts. And I think our goal here is still to support the folks that were impacted most by that fire. So was there sales tax impact? Yes, there was, but we really want to make sure that those folks are okay. That's what we've really been working on. And for now, we're okay. So that's a good thing. I think those are really the big things, unless Trustee Larson, there's anything else I missed that you think is important.
I can't think of anything other than, obviously the big news today about the grant we received as well.
Yeah.
And hopefully that can, we can use that across the town.
Yeah, that's going to be great. It does some ADU work, which is something we need in town. As you know, we're not going to be able to build the density that you'd see in an urban environment. So things like ADUs, which are called accessory dwelling units, are really big for us, where they fit and are convenient, like work within our town structure. So one of the things the grant does is it creates us into what's called a supportive community, which basically just means that we have good land use policies for those ADUs to exist where they're okay to exist. And then there's also a piece of it, once we do that, it unlocks funding for some other projects that are very important in town. One is First Street design. So that would be advancing a design on First Street that would include sidewalks, which is really cool. The other one that I'm particularly excited about is getting the sidewalk to the high school. That's been a project that's been trying to happen in Nederland since that high school was built. And so I think we're going to have the money that we need to kind of advance that project in a good way. And then there's some other things we may be able to do, like electric vehicle charging and things like that, which is also something, that has been a challenge for Nederland. So that grant is going to be exciting. We just have been working on finalizing it now. We did actually get another grant last week that I just found out about, and it is from the State Internet Portal Authority, and it's to start digitizing our old water and wastewater maps, which will be huge for us as we kind of work through our water model. That's another big project we have, is just trying to improve our water resiliency and make sure, a Caribou fire is a perfect example of it. We had to have people moving water all around the valley when the fire happened to make sure that it was going from tank to tank, and we're trying to make sure that is possible no matter what. So just building some redundancy in the pipe and things like that. So that's another project that we're working on. The budget, we'll have the budget work starting. I think we're cautiously optimistic about what's happening. I think we've had a couple of good months in terms of property sales tax, and I think we're still going to be down, but we're making progress on that deficit in the general fund, which is what we need to be doing. So overall, that work will continue. We'd love to have you guys involved. I know you have your own budget work to do. The MOU kind of has some deadlines for when your work happens, and so we can talk about that a little bit more and make sure you guys are dialed. My goal, and I'm going to tell you this for you too, there's not a single one of us that should be working in December in a board meeting. We should be enjoying ourselves and maybe having a volunteer dinner and appreciating the work that you guys did. But if we could be done by Thanksgiving, it would be amazing. So that's always what I'm going to push for, is to get done in November. So December is enjoyable.
Awesome. Thanks, Jonathan.
Yeah. As for beautification, nothing to add. All is well. Judy's off doing her thing. We paid for the flowers. We've done that. I noted in there, I do want to say that the work that we've put into more perennials and the watering and just having Judy really troubleshoot things the last year has started to see some savings in other areas. Like, we're not spending as much at ACE as we used to and things like this. And so the goals of this are starting to become more real, especially with the new planters that you all approved last year. That made it so that they came up more full than they have been in previous years. So yeah, so we're happy with how that is going. And next is the event support report. And in there, I've included from your May meeting, the allocations that were made. And this year we've done things, we've upped our game a little bit, and we have a funding and reimbursement agreement that we are using with all of the individuals that we allocated funding to, so that they have a document, that helps guide them through what I need to see to be able to reimburse, so that it's quickly and it's an organized process that can be completed quickly by everyone, including, not just me, the grantees, especially. It just kind of helps them know what we're really looking for. So I'm glad that we've lifted off that this year, and we've gotten good feedback. People generally are happy that they have that document. And then the next is public art report, and I'll let Meg handle that. We met today.
Yeah, so we've been working on getting the Marion sculptures figured out finally. So we have been looking at different options of places to put them, and Mike Foster has been doing a lot of really great work. He's going to give a report on that in our August meeting, and we're really excited for this to be actually happening. So yeah, more updates to come next month.
Thanks, Meg. And the next is the summer concert series. I don't know, Andrew, do you want to talk first? Do you want me to? How do you want to give everybody a robust update?
Sure, I can go
Yeah, I'm happy.
first.
Yeah.
I think so. We, I think before we get, too far into the comer into where, because I know there's been a lot of stuff on the where the summer concert series should live, and I think let me name what we all agree on is that the series matters to Nederland, and it deserves a home that's safe and well run and good for the neighbors around it. The series was built to move around to let the community show us where a performance space, a physical performance space should be, or where live music belongs. And after, several summers, the answer so far has been pretty clear. It's been Chipeta, not necessarily First Street. We haven't had an opportunity to do it yet at Gercio or Barker Meadows Park. So kind of the DDAs, I think, the town, the feedback from the town is, in a concert, like there's things that you can't fake: bathrooms, grass, a playground, and a place to park. Chipeta's got all those things, but it's also a shared asset, shared town asset, and town and town staff has the right to relocate it. And we're committed to multiple layers there, which is running the series as a model tenant and properly permitted and coordinating with fire and parks and making sure that we're aware of the concern of town staff about our very limited amount of real grass at Chipeta, and that if and when Gercio is a thing, we want it also. The DDA, multiple meetings have been had where bathrooms at Gercio are being talked about. An actual performance space down there is being talked about. I just want to say this out loud, that I've had challenges with the Barker Meadows space because of it being in the floodplain. So just by default, it's like we've been doing it here, so let's always keep doing it here, is kind of where the MO is now. At the same time, it was always designed to move around and to get feedback from the town. So luckily I'm not on Facebook, because if I had been, I guess I would hear a lot of the social media, which is, everyone loves it at Chipeta and it should always stay at Chipeta. And we hear that. And, it's also like, we respect that, Chipeta is a town asset, and there's, other people that use Chipeta at other times, and everybody likes grass. So, I kind of started with the location. Certainly it's super popular. This past weekend was the most people I've ever seen.
Yep.
Personally at the concert, and I think at a certain point, will it ever outgrow that? So there's an ongoing active dialogue about, and dialogue / tension about like what people want versus what can Chipeta really handle, bandwidth wise. And so I just want to honor that like, just because it's comfortable, and at the same time, I also saw, even with porta potties and a plumbing bathroom, there was still a line 15 people deep for both the bathroom and the porta potties. And there was cars, it was just like, oh my gosh, this is a lot of people. So, granted, Jonathan, sorry, you got your hand up.
Yeah, just really quick. I think we all agree Chipeta is a great place to have a concert. It is also in the floodplain, to be fair. So that's not really a differentiator between the two spaces. But I have a responsibility as a town manager to make sure that that place stays nice. You know, just the same as I wouldn't let somebody poke a hole in a pipe to take a shower. I need to make sure that the facilities and infrastructure at Chipeta Park stay the way they should. And I think when we look at the history of Gercio Field, one of the most clear and evident things is that when that grass went away, it was difficult to bring back. And I think it was done with good intentions. I think nobody was like, hey, let's like get rid of the grass on Gercio. But it's what happened. And we've now been working on it for 3 years and spent over $250,000 growing new grass. And that's because grass doesn't grow great in the mountains. And so I think for me, what I have to say is it's my responsibility to take care of that infrastructure, and it's ultimately my call on the admin of that permit. And I'm more than happy to have it be at Chipeta. I think it's great there. I want people to enjoy that space. It's perfect for it, right? But with that being said, we're in a drought year, and we know that the grass there has seen signs of damage. And where you can see it the most is it's browning, and there's some compaction that's happening in the crown of the grass. And that's what we need to watch out for. And so what staff is doing right now is just contextually managing that. So we've increased the watering on the field, and I think that's going to help. And we're just kind of trying to baby it a little bit. Nikki and the crew went out on right after the 4th of July and looked at it. And I think from a conditional standpoint, we're okay for right now. And that's why we were saying concert this week isn't a problem. What we're saying though is that we do need to be aware of the fact that if something happens where we need to think about what that cost would be if it would damage the grass, then it would be good to be able to have a conversation about where that concert could move. It doesn't necessarily have to be at Gercio, but I think that was in the RFP, that was pretty widely communicated. It was public and published that the idea was to look at these different locations. And if they don't work, it's okay. But I think that's where this conversation is most helpful, is if we get to a situation where Chipeta just isn't something that can happen. Like, and it probably wouldn't be forever. It might be one concert, or maybe the grass just dies out completely and then we don't care as much because we have to fix it anyway. But if we do get in that situation where we need to think about what we do for a concert, what would happen? And I think that I would appreciate you guys' conversation on that, because I think that's what's really important. I think we know that that space is great. I think we know that the Gercio space in the past has been great. And I think the question is like, what do we do to just contextually manage our resources given our constrained environment and these kind of responsibilities we have that kind of create these wicked problems where we have to prioritize different things. And so that's what I wanted to tell you. I'm not trying to be a bad guy in the concert. I'm supposed to steward Netherlands resources, and I can't issue a permit if it is going to do something that costs us a significant amount of money. And right now I'm not saying that's happening. I'm just noting that there is some damage to the grass. That's all.
No, of course, I hear you. So I think do you think it would be smart to work, have the DDA work with Sweet Wave on a hypothetical emergency plan and restroom plan and kind of, overall logistical plan for Gercio, as well as, potentially, I know businesses have kind of communicated that they don't want First Street, being shut down, and that's a more challenging environment. So I think, if nobody would think it would be a waste of time to at least get the right paperwork in order for Gercio, so that if we have more than 6 days to do, said paperwork and communicate with people.
I let John know that I was going to start that process. So I've been looking at the porta potty, but yes, getting those things set. Yeah, I think we need to have the plan B in case, just for the reasons that you mentioned. So I let John know that I was going to start getting all that together in conjunction with Sweet Wave. So the
Marshall
plan
Jocelyn will work with me too. We'll make this happen if we have to. We can do it pretty quick. We don't have to waste a lot of time, because the town, I'm just telling you, the town's intention is to keep it at Chipeta. I'm trying to express concern about the conditions that I'm seeing there, especially given our drought conditions. But that could change. I mean, we know that could change very quickly. So I think the best case is let's just play it by ear. If we need to make a decision about it, maybe we could circle the wagons here and be collaborative about how that happens.
But yes, starting on that emergency plan, since we don't know exactly where it would be sited at Gercio, like that is one of my priorities, is working with Sweet Wave to, just in case, not saying it has to be, because that was the intent of my update to you in the packet. I did not mean to start everyone getting concerned about it, but I did want to bring up that that was something that we had been told and make the board aware that it was a possibility. And Nikki and I had talked about it even in April, that it was a possibility that we might need to have these at Gercio just because of all the things that have been mentioned. So I'm very happy to make sure that Plan B is ready to go, so that if it does have to move, unfortunately, that at least everybody can work as a team like they did for the 4th, and get things done in a hopefully better way.
We're cautiously optimistic it's not going to happen. I think we're talking about something that's kind of worst case scenario. So
Yeah.
I just want to make
It's a
sure that was not.
hypothetical.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't want to go too far,
Mhm.
off into the weeds, so to speak, no pun intended, but if you don't mind, I just wanted to share so we could kind of talk about what I think is so let's see, are you looking at my map here?
We can see
Yeah.
it.
Okay, so in the previous years of NetFest, like the stage was up here by the end of East Second
Yep.
Street.
Yep.
Whereas the power is down in this corner.
Mhm.
So, I think for understanding the amount of cable needed to get from the power, that's why there was a talk of generators. The portalets kind of can be where the portalets can be, but this blue line is the floodplain, which doesn't really have to do with where a summer concert would go, more further like future development of the performance space area. But so these were kind of some of the last iterations of design from JVA that talking about doing different things there. But we can save that for another meeting, another time. I just wanted to share where I thought because we want to obviously talk with town staff about where the parking would be. It all gets back to the emergency plan.
Yep.
So the bulk of parking, where the restrooms would go, where the stage would go. And so that's just my thought there. Yep.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks, Andrew.
Yeah. All
And,
right.
and we'll follow up a little bit more on that offline, because like we're saying, this is still a moving thing, and we just want to make sure that everything is ready to go if something has to happen. But I also do have, like you've talked about, we're done funding the summer concert series. We did that for 2 years in a row with the last allocation. So this year during the budget discussion, you're going to be discussing about the summer concert series and a future performance space. So that will be something that will evolve over the next few months as well, I imagine. And I plan to reach out to the business community for some feedback on the decisions that you have to make, so that you can make informed ones with data from them.
Yeah. Okay.
All
So
right.
that's the update, I think. Sorry. John, were you saying something?
No, I think
All
we're
right.
good.
All right, we're good. All right.
All right. Wayfinding. I won't go into too much because we have an item on that. So, that's in the packet, and then we have that as our discussion item this evening. And then the last thing that we have is a web update. Today, Britt and I met with Civic Web, and we got the timetable for the updated website. Next week, they will push us we'll have another meeting with them, and they'll push us into the phase where we are 4 weeks or less from going live. So the business directory will be ready for me to start doing autofill forms and doing all of that, hopefully in the next 4 weeks at the most. We are confident, since Civic Web just updated the town's website, that this shouldn't be too lengthy of a process, because this is just putting us on their newest platform so that the business directory could work, and town was going to have to update later this year anyway. So we're just making it all happen so that the business directory, so I'm working with Britt on that, but we lost our project manager, got a new one, all these things, but now we have somebody and we are feeling like we're finally going to be making better progress in that department. So I'm very happy to have that update, as well as the update about the visitor center. That was an exciting update for today too, because I have been getting a lot of feedback on that from the public. So it is nice to see that that can be moving forward. Okay, and that is information. And next on our agenda is our action item for the evening, which is annual board elections. All right. So, per the bylaws, elections are to be held each July for the following positions for a one-year term. We have chair, vice chair, and treasurer. And so the questions are for the board is who, if any, is interested in different positions. And I think sometimes the best way to go down it is just to, like it's listed here, who's interested in chair? And if there's anyone interested in chair, can you let us know and why?
Well, I'm Andrew Stewart. I'm the current chair, and I feel like I'm still, this is coming up on my last term, and still working on active business. So, I'd be interested in retaining the chair or being reelected to the chair, and that's why.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. I didn't think that
Yeah.
we would we would hear from anybody.
These aren't necessarily exciting positions to be on, necessarily.
So let's see here. Do we just want to okay, let's just go through each position and talk about interest, and then we'll go and do motions and votes. Does
Or if
that
we
make
want
sense?
to make a motion to move this to next meeting, Kate, just saying that's a reality since we're missing multiple members.
So I want to ask Jonathan about that, just as a matter of process, since it's in your bylaws. I just want to make sure and see if that's possible, because I definitely understand we would like to have as many possible. But so Jonathan, because this is in the bylaws that it happens this year, what is your thoughts on moving it, making a motion to move it to the next meeting?
I think you can. I think it's always good to stay with your agenda as much as humanly possible, but I think the other competing priority of having a full board is also valuable. And so I think you could do that. I think you could always continue an item, is how we would typically do it on the Board of Trustees.
Okay. So what's the process for continuing the item then?
Move to second vote.
Okay.
I just wanted to throw that out there for dialogue, since we're kind of a short meeting, but.
Do we think it's likely we'll have the other two here for the next meeting?
I know that our new person will be here. I don't know about Ron. He did tell me that he was going to be here this evening, so I don't have any reason to think
He
that
did just call me and he was trying to get on, but I said we were, so I
We
mean,
were good.
he could jump on right now, but he still is trying to call in, and it sounds like he's somewhere in the East Coast and in the middle of dinner, so I don't,
yeah. I don't think that there's any reason that he wouldn't be at the next one. So it's really up to you all.
I'd like to make the motion to continue this to next month.
Hey.
second that.
There you go.
All right. Andrew Dewart,
Yes.
John Thompson,
Agree, yes.
Meg Fox,
Yes, approved.
Richard Brandon,
Yes.
Trustee Larson.
Yes.
Thank you all. So we will do that for the next meeting, and hopefully we'll all be together and be able to To that, and you may even be able to have a full board. You're only missing one member at this point. One seat hasn't been filled, so by that time we could have our full set again, which would be lovely.
Okay. So the discussion item. Wayfinding.
Yes. To give me 2 seconds here. All right. Um, there are members of the public online. So does anybody have any public comment on the wayfinding discussion item before the board begins?
Hello. Hey,
Hello.
it's Nance Matthews. Hey, I was just curious. I know some people are like so passionate about the wayfinding stuff. And I was just curious if maybe there was a way that you could do like a Google form or just like something where we could maybe submit like, oh, hey, we see like this is faced towards a fence that does nothing. Like maybe we could turn this or, oh, this word is misspelled. Like just maybe something where people could submit like, hey, this is an oopsie. Can we fix it? Because I know that the letters are stickers. So I don't know. It was
Yes.
just an idea.
So I did send out a survey for people that is the responses are included in here. And so there was a lot of that in there because I purposefully made it very open-ended so people could just let us know everything. And part of this item this evening will be though addressing some of those issues as the punch
Okay.
list items.
Okay.
So hopefully we'll be able to answer that. But I'm also, open to pushing that out again if people do. I
Well,
got some feedback, but not as much as other surveys. So,
so
but I'm
I'm
happy to.
concerned because the last two times that you said that you've sent things out, I have not received them, especially after that one where you said the meeting was canceled and I was like, hey, here's my like inbox. So like I'm not being communicated to anymore.
Okay.
So I would like to be included.
Okay.
I
Let me
mean,
check
and
with
just like, yeah.
our email provider because I did send them I did send them a ticket on that. So let me check at that again. But thank you for letting me know that that's a continuing issue for you.
Well, it just
But
makes me worried that like other people aren't being
other people are, yeah.
included.
Okay.
So that'd be cool. And then I just had a question if we were gonna have like First Street meetings again.
Yes.
Okay,
I've gotten feedback that the summer is just not a good time right now. And
that's
so
very valid.
that's the only reason. So I've just been putting my head down trying to get these other projects through the finish line, but then all of that will start again. But I did get feedback when I tried to schedule the next one. They're like, not right now, thank you. I
Yeah.
think everybody does want to do that again, and I'm glad that we're getting a lot more traction with not just First Street, like with everyone. But
Mhm.
the message has been, not right now. Let's talk again after leaf peeping.
Yeah, no, that's super valid. I just hadn't heard anything, and so I was just curious.
Okay.
I think that's all.
Thanks,
Oh wait,
Nance.
I did have one more question. Is that allowed?
Go ahead.
I was just curious, like, is visitor center, I know Jonathan was talking about visitor center is gonna reopen. I was just curious if there's any way that like businesses could like support visitor center or if they needed anything from us that we could help with.
I can certainly connect you and Jonathan on that. There he is. Go ahead, Jonathan.
One of the things we're trying to do is think about how the visitor center points to business, right? That's important, and how it points to our artists and how it celebrates our artists and our local culture. Here in Nederland, it's a really important thing for the visitor center. And so
Mhm.
we are in the process, what we're trying to do, we need a lead position for the center who can kind of manage money and things like that, that we need to have a staff person in. And we have a really good person to do that now. And so when she comes on board, I also have another staff member who will be there. So we'll be able to open it pretty consistently and pretty regularly. And one of the things we'd really like to do is work with the business community and make sure that it's engaging with you in a way that's helpful for your business. And that doesn't mean that we're going to be meeting every day, but like generally like trying to touch base and figure out what is good and how we do that and kind of like all that kind of work so that you're engaged in that center and it's kind of pointing towards you. And so I think I would say yes, please. We definitely are always looking for help. And now that we have the lead position, we're also hoping that we can fill in kind of some of the gaps of volunteers where like that can be appropriate. And so what I'm trying to tell people, and really my message here, is that it's Nederland's community center, and it needs to reflect Nederland, and we want it to. And it's just been a difficult place to run just with some of the management constraints we've had. But the more that we come together around it, the more successful it'll be, and the more we can make sure it stays vibrant in the future. So if there's things that you have ideas about, or you'd like to meet, or if you'd like to help, because one of the things, we're going to clean it up, we're going to do all these things that are needing to happen there. But we'd love to have you participate if there's anything. I know you have a lot of skills inside, like just your skill set of design and like what works on interior spaces and all that thing would be much appreciated. So I would love to talk to you about that if you're willing.
Yeah, I'm happy to help. I think the visitor center is so valuable.
Well, thank you. I'm really excited to get it open. We've been trying for a long time to find the right person, and I think we've got it. So I think hopefully
Yay.
it starts becoming a joy for the community, and that's my goal. I'd love to have also a grand opening there to celebrate it. I don't know if y'all have ideas, but I would love to just do something really fun. We used to do, like, we had a tie-dye event there that kind of, it was good, and I think it could be different. I think we could make a community-centered event to just reopen it and celebrate it a little bit, and I'd love to just figure out what that looks like in a way that supports business community. That's what I think the goal would be, and the community itself. So
Cool.
All
That's all
right.
I had. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nance.
All right. Let's talk wayfinding. So in your packet, you'll see, all the past, I tried to link all the past stuff so that it's clear to the public as well as everybody else, the odyssey that this project has been on. And so I met with Merge again this week and on our punch list, and our contractor Geograph takes off for 2 weeks at this time of the year, but we are planning on meeting with them next week to get on their schedule to come back out and make some improvements and do some punch list. And the first is that 25-mile-an-hour sign obstructing signage near the vault will be relocated by Geograph because Nikki does have authority within a certain foot distance to approve us moving that without us having to go through CDOT.
Can I ask a question, Kate?
Sure. Yep,
Sorry.
go ahead.
You mean you're moving the 25-mile-an-hour sign, or you're moving the wayfinding sign?
We're moving the 25-mile-an-hour sign.
Okay.
That was always the
Right.
plan, and it's going back to where it was originally located. You can actually see where it used to be, and town had
Okay.
requested it be
Well,
moved in the past. Sorry.
Yeah, that's all clarified.
Okay.
Okay, cool. All right, sorry, continue.
Nope, that's fine. I just want to make it clear that we can do that and be within and do everything by the book. And so then the two large kiosks that weren't able to be placed, one near the visitor center and with the existing trash can on the grass space, and then the other near the train cart. Those will also get placed at that time. And then the sign on the library that states downtown will get the directory icons added for shopping, dining, and for the arts. And here, I'm going to share my screen so you can see some of the things as we continue the conversation.
So there's a clear identified spot for what I'll call the town hall sign, and where that's going to go.
Which town hall sign, can you help me understand?
Like the concrete, I guess, can you just kind of clue everybody in about the backstory of the misplaced concrete near the visitor center and town hall?
Yep. So I was getting to that piece of things. Okay, so yes, I'll get right there. So we'll add the pictograms that you see here. Shopping, dining, and arts will go by where the downtown is to help with the concern about not really pointing to First Street. And if Steve Crow was here, he would remind everyone that this was about parking to start with. However, once it was installed, I think we all have seen how that left a gap with different things. And so that's why we decided that might be a nice way to start addressing that. And then The other piece that Geograph will be working on is that they put footers where they shouldn't have, because in a previous plan they had supposed to be there, but the newest version was to not have um, the kiosks or any directories or anything in front of the visitor center, and then on either corner there because of congestion and ADA and shoveling and you name it, there's reasons why that's just not the ideal location. So that's why it was relocated over to the grassy area, but the concrete does need to be matched. And so that is what they're going to come
Can
back.
you just go to a plan view, I guess, in one of these with your cursor and just
Yep, let me
show
see. I do.
plan view?
I actually do have one here. Are you seeing this, or are you still on my old screen?
We see the merge, blue and
Okay,
white, but
perfect.
not a plan view. There you go. There's some plan views.
I was gonna say, I just want to make sure you could see. Okay,
Yeah.
here. This will help me talk to you. Thanks, Andrew. So what we are talking about is this kiosk here.
Mhm.
There was a version where it was over here, and that's where the concrete issue is. And that is what will be taken care of and matched with what was there. And
So tear out the footing near town hall, put the
Mhm.
concrete back to the way the sidewalk
Yep.
is, and then put a new sign. Can you zoom in? Where exactly is 703 pointing?
703
Or-
is in the where the Nederland Panther sign is by the creek,
Right.
and the
Okay.
new trash can that we funded. Nikki has made that area nice with a bench too, and that's where everybody agreed was the best spot for that kiosk.
Okay, kind of up the sign where people pose for pictures. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And people
okay.
are already kind of going that way. So, and we felt like it being adjacent to the visitor center was helpful, because that was
Mhm.
a goal too, is to kind of tie in to have people be able to use
And
that
and what
kiosk.
Nance was talking about, side B of the other sign to the east, which is right up against the fence line,
Yeah.
what to do about that, to discuss that,
So,
right? So,
yeah, the issue, there are site constraints, is why it got put that way, is that town has that signage right there, and so that was the way that when we were going through the process with everyone, that's where it landed. So that is
Mhm.
why that happened that way. I'm definitely open to feedback that anybody has on, if there's a way to make that better, but it's really it's the site constraint that happened there. So yeah, I'm open to feedback on that for sure.
Mhm. Yeah,
Can
I
I
mean,
go
I can
back?
certainly
Yep.
go, sorry, go ahead, Chris.
So I just wanted to go back and had a couple questions about the 703 kiosk
Please. All right.
before we move away from that.
No
You say you're
problem.
going to put it over by the Nederland Panther sign.
Yes.
Is it going to be cited in such a way that it does not interfere with all the people that already stop and take pictures there, kind of similar to the other places we've seen it dropped in front of other signs?
Yes.
We're not going to be
So
that situation again, are we?
no, we do not want to be in that situation again. And my hope is that we will actually have Merge come out and make sure that the last of this is, because it is in their budget to come out one more time. And that just hasn't been finalized, but it is my hope that then if we can have them here and like everybody can make sure that this gets tied up with a bow and done properly.
Okay. Second
Yeah,
question about
I mean-
second question about 703.
Okay.
You mentioned the concrete or the footings that are going to be removed, the concrete repaired, the repouring, or over in the new location. And it sounded like it's Merge's fault for putting it where they did. So are they going to charge us for this
No.
change?
No,
Okay.
no. This is, they're bad and they know it, and they're
Yep.
they're
Okay,
fixing
good.
it. So no, that was not a fight at all, I'm happy to say. So they all understood. Like I said, it was a change in plans and they were working off the wrong plan, and that's how that happened, and they owned it. So
Okay. Just on, I guess on the backside, I don't expect you to have the image. I'm trying to picture side B of the 703 sign and make sure we don't end up with another like, oh, this is just facing over the creek,
Okay.
where no one can see it. Like,
Okay.
so And, maybe part of the answer of side B, since I think for 705, since side A is useful, but side B is not, but we have the sign, is it, and again, I, off the top of my head, can't picture exactly what's on each, but was it worth like getting, needing to maybe pay for 2 extra footings, but having 2 extra signs, because really we're trying to put signs in spots where a 2-sided sign in theory, sounds good, but it just doesn't work because of site constraints.
Okay. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, I'm following you, and I can definitely talk to them about that. I will tell you, just because I do have costs, I want to let you all know as we're talking how much each of these are. The kiosks obviously are the most expensive. Those were around 20,000 each, and so that, just to give you that kind of a price framing, that's what we would be looking at for adding any kiosks.
Well, no,
Again,
I
we have.
mean, like, if right now, if side B, if everyone is saying side B is useless, it's up against the fence.
Oh, on
No
that,
one
on
is good
705. Okay, perfect.
on
I gotcha.
705, yeah.
Yep.
If it's like, well, you could actually just, take side B off, put up a, a sign that says Nederland or something on the fence
Just to
side.
have that
And
back, because
then,
yeah.
Nederland or the DDA self-performs and does their own, footing somewhere and uses that side B better somewhere else. That's just something to
Okay, now I'm
consider.
following. Now I follow
Yeah.
you. Okay.
Yeah.
I can bring that up with Merge and Geograph, and we can get some information on that. That's what the purpose of this conversation is tonight, is to troubleshoot through all of this with you, and then I can take it back. And then in August, anything, the punch list stuff is happening. But anything we might add, which I'll talk a little bit more about, that's what then would come back for an action item next month.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we would actually want to pay or hire Merge to subcontract more concrete work. I think it would just
No,
be
no.
like, hey,
Okay.
we all acknowledge that this side of this sign is not used to its best ability. And maybe we as a board decide that, with other feedback from town and from, um, just general survey responses, that here's another spot where side B, for example, of sign 705 could be more useful, and just deal with the permitting and the footing on our own. Because I know,
Gotcha. Yeah.
the big part was like the design. And now that we have the design, we've talked about, well, we could always print our own, modifications to signs. So just a thought that, if it feels like due to site constraints, a 2-sided sign can't work and we've got an extra side, rather than having, side B be not used as well as it could be, it might be worth, doing a footing and post somewhere else. Just a
Okay.
thought for everybody to consider.
Yep.
Yeah.
I can give you some information on that. And no, we don't have to work with Merge. I can just kind of take some pictures over that. We can figure that out.
Yeah.
Kate,
Yes.
Did I interject
could
a little bit?
someone give me a quick visual of like the size of these kiosks? What exactly they look like? I have no idea what this is. Is it one like a giant cement pillar with a cap? And the
Yes.
sides we're talking about, are those going to be maps on this size? And how big are those? How big are these sides? And how tall and wide is the kiosk?
They're about 8 feet tall and about 5 feet
Yeah.
wide.
Seeing if I'm trying to quickly find a picture for you.
Thanks.
So John was right, and they're substantial, but like Andrew was saying, we don't necessarily need to replicate exactly. It's just more, we have the ability to print off that side B and just put it someplace else. And so that's kind of what we were talking about there, because and you're right, they're sizable and they have a big, footing, and they have the nice rock around them, like that's part of the, making the kiosks nice. And that's what got hard to site in that area. And so I think that there are some different options based on what Andrew was talking about, and I can, tease those out with him before the next meeting.
All right, thanks.
So the
John? Yeah.
so the side B and A aren't like conjoined. They're two separate
No,
things, and we could
they're
take
separate.
side A off of them. Because that would be nice to just have, like, if we had some sort of, at the concert series or something around town where we could put it up and be like, oh, here, in a different, here's where you are sign.
Yes.
I looked
And
at it for
Yeah.
the one down by the creek looks really great. I mean, it's pretty amazing. I was surprised after all the craziness around town about, oh, we spend too much money and oh, blah blah blah. Why don't we get it done locally? But it looks great, and I think there's going to be a backlash to people being like upset about it. I think once they see them in use and they're sturdy, they're really nice.
they we've gotten lovely feedback about the kiosk, except for the typo on them, which is also on the punch list to fixed. Everybody really likes those kiosks. And so that's been something we've gotten a lot of good feedback on, even though there's like, oh, could we, they don't like how the one we're talking about, the B, but overall people really like the kiosks, there's critiques and stuff, but absolutely, we've gotten good feedback there. Okay, does anybody have any more questions before I go on or anything? Okay, so I'm gonna repeat myself a little bit, but just to help me get back on track a little bit, so I don't make sure I don't miss anything. After installation, concerns were raised about there being no shopping and dining references, as well as no directional for First Street. At the May 2026 NDDA board meeting, more information was requested on these issues for the next DDA meeting. The Wayfinding Committee, as well as myself and Merge, worked on some options for the board to discuss. As well, a survey on this item was sent to the Nederland business community. The results are attached to this item. The responses were varied and did not indicate clear preferences. However, they did, like I said before, give some constructive feedback. So below are options that were drafted for the bid package so that you can kind of have some visuals on what I'm talking about here moving forward. There was a physical business directory that was ultimately not included due to issues with locations. Some other consideration are as follows: that there was concerns raised on the proposed directories locations. If there was a future sidewalk project, those physical business directories for First Street would likely be disturbed, but could be reinstalled. And so when I put out these First Street business examples, people were not jumping at that option, which and as you can see, this is where they would be, because the issue with why these got cut in the first place was because there's not a good place to cite them due to ADA, shoveling, all of the concerns that that I already listed. So that's why those were ultimately cut. And we thought, let's ask people if they like them and if that's something that I could bring to you all to discern. And it doesn't seem like that's something people are really interested in. And with there not being a great place to put them, I don't know, it's up to the board if we want to keep talking about this physical business directory. But I did want to bring that up to everyone's attention because it was included in the original bid package and was cut due to the site issues and some of the issues that were listed in the feedback, like the turnover of businesses, even though we have ways to keep that fresh and doing it, but there were concerns about investing in that, and then the turnover and the work that would entail that were listed by the public. So, does anybody have any questions about the physical business directories?
No.
Okay.
Thanks for doing the summary on that.
Okay. So I wanted to bring that up, and then the last thing that I have spoken with Merge about and what they are working on for us for the next meeting was talking to us about. So as you can see here, this is kind of the basic template for our signs. To address the concerns about First Street, one thing that is consistent that we're talking about is putting up a smaller version of this sign that just says downtown and has the pictograms on it, but have it be here, but have it be somewhere in the CDOT right of way right here. So that now there's another, signage.
Do you mean be like north of Lakeview? I'm just seeing
Yes.
on plan view, because right now you're by the Carousel of Happiness.
So I'm
So
meaning,
would you
I
be?
am meaning through this area somewhere. I don't know where, and
Okay.
that's what Merge is going to give us there. Because we did have us at one version of this project, there was a sign over there. And so I'm thinking that this space makes the most sense, but I'm also asking their professional opinion about where that sign could go to meet that concern. Because they did not think that at the, okay, sorry. They didn't think that we needed any signage at the entry point to town because there's already signs.
No,
And so,
I guess
Yeah.
are we just, can you go like just to the west of sign 705 there? I don't know. Again, that's where the bridge is. Not, obviously, it's not going to be on the side of the bridge, but talking about the feedback, right? Of responding to, geez, there's no sign pointing to with dining icons or shopping
Yep.
icons towards First Street. So where does that go? And obviously, there's Tebow's large old Mountain Market sign, which whether or not what's gonna happen there, and if he's gonna keep that sign or
Mhm.
that sign's gonna get replaced,
Mhm.
right? That's a whole nother. So
Yeah. No.
just talking through the challenges of site constraints and how to point where is the best place and how to
Yeah.
point people to First Street, right?
So the other thing that I meant to bring up, this sign here, 111, I have asked them to look if there is a way to add that information just to this sign. So we would
Mhm.
get a new vinyl on there. I don't know that
Mm.
there's a way, but I think Merge definitely understands what we're looking for. And so I should have more information hopefully by Friday from Merge, because we are planning to meet with Geograph early next week. But those were the things that I discussed with them about how to address that concern. So we'll look at 111 and see if there's a way to just update that one, or somewhere through here that makes sense. Because I don't know if it makes sense to have it. So this sign 503 here is the Big Springs parking sign. I don't know if it makes sense to have it over here or before or after, but that's kind of that's what we pay the professionals to ask them that question. And so I'm gonna, get some options for us on there. But all of this is CDOT right of way. So I'll have to work with Geograph again to get that permit there. But that's obviously very, very possible thing to do to help address that concern.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Anyone have any other comments or thoughts on that business? Okay.
So, and I'll say, this, everything, like you said, the punch list, we're not, getting charged for the punch list stuff and the concrete, those are parts of the project. And so what would come back to you next month is this additional things that we have been discussing. And then you can decide to take some formal action, and I'll have some good numbers for you. In my initial conversations with Merge, talking about a small additional sign and some vinyl, we decided we'd say very conservatively $10,000 more, but it would likely be closer to 6,000. But pricing, Merge has seen some different pricing, so she just wanted to make sure the individual working with Madison just wanted to make sure that you weren't seeing a bigger number at the end of the day, that you would be seeing a smaller number when we fine tune things. And your total budget was 400. Right now, everything has been paid for. We're current with everything, and we have expended $316,680.99. And that includes, like I say, construction administration services, everything we've spent since the beginning of time, that's where we are. You also saw the attached all the wayfinding survey data. So some things that I'm interested in, do you wish to add signs? I don't, before when I had drafted this, the physical business directory was more of a question. It does seem like that's not the greatest step forward, but but of course it's up to the board and I'd love to know your thoughts on that. And do you wish to edit anything that I presented? I think I've gotten some of that feedback with Andrews about getting rid of the side B and placing it in a separate way. But if there's any other ideas that you have, I am open to them. And is there anything else that you think should be added that I haven't covered yet? So those are kind of the big things for us tonight, so I can make sure next month I come back dialed in.
Yeah. I guess we can go around the room. Richard, you're first on my screen. What your thoughts are on these?
I'm last on my screen.
Oh, sorry.
My initial thoughts, not a big fan on the business directories for the streets. What I was thinking, seems like the kind of a way to go these days are QR codes.
Mhm.
So I don't know if there's any way to
There will be.
Pardon?
So there is going to be a QR code on all the kiosks for the business directory. So there is
Okay,
going to
well,
be
that's-
something for that.
That's what I was going toward.
Yeah.
Wondering about that, because that seems to be the way to go. Instead of looking at the business directories, to me, which seem kind of a little past in time, it kind of reminds me of going into a mall looking at the directories.
Oh, look at John. He's right by the kiosk.
Oh, sweet.
You're the best, John.
So I was curious about the kiosk and not sure where that search engine would lead to. And then if that could be like tied into the visitor center somehow as well, if there's a place to search in the visitor center.
I think that would be awesome if we could make all that go together.
Something like that. I don't know if that ties into the town website or if it's own just small little searchable database. Not sure how that goes. So I was kind of thinking about that as far as the business directories, because everyone just uses QR codes these days.
And that's what the intent of updating our business directory
Exactly.
was, so that all of these things could work together. And that is all on the town website, which is also like making it one-stop shop, that we're getting them to where they're going to get the best information. And that's the goal with having that.
Great. That's where I was going with the whole business directory thing. So,
great. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, thanks, Richard. There's an app, that I talked about with Steve. It kind of never got off the ground. But if you want to check out, like, Las Vegas, New Mexico has an app called Connect Las Vegas, where it's QR codes for historical sites, businesses, the map, etc. So it's all tied back, and it's an app one can download. It's actually pretty inexpensive to do. I think where this is just me personally right now, is feeling like, let's just get this project kind of done and closed and feel like we've got font, we've got designs, we've got a basis where we can continue to add on to. That's how I feel right now, before necessarily paying Merge to do any ad service work.
Okay.
I think let's
totally
have them.
agree with that. I totally agree with that, to get this foundational laid out and then add on little layers at a time. I totally agree with that. It's a great idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, the adding the sign is really just about responding to the community and trying to make sure that it all makes sense. And I did understand that, I very much understood it. I saw it right away when they were, when they were all up, but I could see that hole. And so, yeah, that's where the impetus of all this is. But we own all this stuff now, so we can, do what you all thinks works best for town.
And then Meg, your thoughts?
Yeah, my only feedback was that we included the Barker Reservoir Trail, and that trail was very unmaintained and slightly dangerous. But I have seen that there has been some work done on that trail, which I'm very pleased. I hike that one all the time. So that was my only feedback on the signs. I think they look great. So yeah, keep up the good
Cool.
work.
Thanks.
Thanks, Meg.
John out there, how does it feel when you
Man
touch
on the street.
Yeah. You're muted. You're muted.
You're muted, but that was amazing.
Muted. You gotta unmute. Unmute. We can't hear you, John.
I'm
We
gonna
can't
try
hear
to.
you.
I can't unmute him. I was trying
can't.
to. We can't hear
You're
you,
muted.
John.
Muted. Can't hear you.
I muted myself. Sorry. I was
Yes,
just
we
saying,
missed
from the
that whole
backside,
thing.
you can't see it as well from the backside, but I mean, it's still manageable. And if we could take that backside off and use it in some other place, that'd be fine. I like your idea of just covering the backside with it with black.
Or even just the Nederland or something.
Yeah, exactly. Or information, and then whatever.
Or it could be like the community graffiti board that people keep tagging.
I thought I could
Yeah.
put some stickers
Don't
on
put
there.
that in the universe.
I think there's already a sticker box right next to where he's
Yeah.
standing.
Yeah.
It's true.
Okay.
Okay.
Chris, your thoughts?
I agree pretty much with what everyone else is saying. I think getting this project done is kind of the priority, and I'd also kind of weigh in a little bit on the maybe not adding, more and more signs. I think, we've got to draw the line.
Yeah.
Well, and it doesn't, and that is part of my reticence with on the CDOT right away, and like what Andy was saying with that caribou. So it's just and I've been walking these for 2 weeks, really trying to think of a place to put them. And I've come up with a few things, but it's small areas. And you're right, we're not trying to put up a bunch more signs. So I am hoping that they can come up with a fun way to figure out how to fix 111, like I brought up, that one that's already there, and try to just expand from that. So then we don't have to deal with anything other than just fixing that sign.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, I think that is that the bulk of the questions for the wayfinding.
Yeah,
group?
this gives me a lot to work from. This is what I needed. I appreciate it. And if you think of anything else, please just reach out. It's very helpful. And I'm at town hall almost every day now. And so drop by and see me. Lots of people have been, and it's been really lovely. So, just let me know.
Yeah.
Great.
Awesome.
Well,
See, what's next on our, I lost the agenda.
yeah, I'm so buried in it right now. That's where I'm like, go to the top, Kate. Okay.
Kate, quick question.
Yes.
Is there a place I can find? You were sharing like the different locations of the different signs and everything. Is there a place where
Yes, so it's actually
so I can take a tour?
Yes, it's linked in the document, but I'm also happy if you want to, I have a ton of physical copies because I need those. I'm happy to
Where is
drop
it
them off
linked
for
in the
you.
document? Oh, sign locations. That makes sense. Okay.
It's all right. And some of so those kiosk locations, so there'll be more into that one, but I'm happy to walk through whatever with you, and yeah, just let me know if you have any questions. But that should be able to, that one's a more robust document, so it has all of the pictures of the associated ones and that. But if you have any questions, just let me know.
The link isn't opening, so maybe I'll get it somewhere else.
Okay, well, let me check out, because I put them all on Google so that would be easy, because I know everybody wants to know about this project, and I tried to make it as easy as possible. But let me, if I'll check all those links and make sure that those are no issue, and make sure it gets back to you.
Cool.
All right. What's next, Kate?
If there's any, we're at other business. If there's any other business that anyone wants to bring up.
If no other business, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I second.
All
I think
right.
John Thompson first. I can't
mute.
hear you, but I saw your mouth moving.
Put up a
There you
peace
go.
sign.
And then second was Richard Brandon. All right, let me call roll real quick before you all jump off.
Yeah.
Andrew Dewart,
Yes.
John Thompson,
Present in the creek.
Meg Fox,
Yes.
Richard Brandon,
Yes.
Trustee Larson.
Yes, indeed.
All right, thank you all so much. I
Thank
look
you.
forward to August, and there'll even be a new little person in the world probably then for you, won't there?
We'll
I'm
see.
really
I mean,
sorry. I
we'll
held you
see.
guys
Thank
up.
you.
I'm sorry I was 15
Bye.
minutes late. Oops.
All right, thanks all.
Good night,
Have a
guys.
good
Happy
night.
lunch. Bye.